child support confidentiality laws, again, I do need to ask a few more questions, and could you verify for me your full legal name and date of birth?
Yep, it's Mariah Davidson. My date of birth is 5/1/89.
And the name of the father of the children on this case?
Logan Walker.
And the names of any children on this case?
Mariana and Madeline Davidson.
Okay, and Mariana's date of birth?
It's both Mary and Maddie are 7/23/2011.
Okay. So normally I let you describe in your own words the inquiry, but I've done a lot of case research on this one, so I did want to just start out with some basic points about everything. Any issues that you have related to custody and visitation, those are strictly handled through the courts. So child support has no role in determining custody or visitation.
Right. That's why I put in the inquiry with the governor's office, because no visitation or parental rights should be filed under this child support case. And 13 JU 10484 is child support. I have the case receipt that shows that all of this is child support. Actually, after DNA was established through child support, and shortly after the DNA was established, child support switched the case for whatever reason and gave me a completely different case number. And then we were just basically sent over to the courts, which child support has nothing to do with the visitation. So there should be nothing filed under this case regarding visitation or parental rights.
Okay. And again, we don't, here at the child support program as a whole, we don't have any role in enforcing or setting up custody or visitation. That's done strictly through the courts. So whatever is set up through the courts, if anything, is done by the courts, and you would need to address that at the court level. Then as far as child support goes, the Child Support Enforcement Agency is obligated to enforce the court order when it is made. If you do not agree with that court order, you would then need to address that through the courts. The one thing that, not the one thing, but the primary thing that the Child Support Enforcement Agency can do as far as the judicial order is, as long as there's no deviations, and a deviation would be where there's an agreement between the parties, or the judge or magistrate has determined that the child support will be a different amount than the normal calculated amount from the child support guidelines. But as long as there's no deviation, the Child Support Enforcement Agency can conduct what's called an administrative review. But the only result of an administrative review would be it will modify the amount of the child support. It would never change who pays the child support, or if child support is paid, it would simply change the amount to whatever is current under the child support guidelines.
So can you...
Any you have outside of the amount of the child support that you pay to the custodial parent would need to be addressed judicially on this matter. There's no role for the child support program to change who receives support or the such like.
So can you tell me why the parental rights were filed under the child support case?
So court orders do not have they're not a child support case, they're just a court order. They may pertain to different things. So your child support case number is 713-256-8028, and that child support case number was derived from court order number 13JU10484. So
right, which is a child support case.
That's a court order. So
whether it be a court order, whether it be a court order or not, why is the parental rights or visitation filed under the child support court order?
Again, we don't have any role in what the courts do, so that is just a court order. It's not a child support case, it's a court order. That court order is what created a child support case with case number 713-256-8028. We do not determine what the courts are allowed to cover in a court order.
So why does all the case...
Child support case number...
I have the receipt of the case history, and it says Child Support Enforcement Agency on every single slot. So why is that? Even for visitation or parental rights?
Can't answer that for you. So that would be something you'd have to address with the courts.
Okay, because when I speak to anybody at the courts, they say that it's a child support case. So there should be no visitation or parental rights filed under this child support order. Correct?
I can't answer anything about court orders, so if you have questions about the court orders, those have to be addressed at the courts.
And can you tell me why I was never sent to like a child support administrative hearing?
Because you have a judicial order. The order came from the courts. There's not an administrative hearing when there's a court order. There's only an administrative hearing when the the custodial parent requests child support when there's not a court order.
Well,
this case came from a court order, so there would never be an administrative hearing unless you requested a review on the case.
Well,
there would be an administrative
after DNA was established, I have documents from child support stating that I had to go to child support for the administrative hearing, which I did go, and nothing was set. We were just sent directly over to the courts. Why is that?
That's definitely because that's what they chose to do. They don't have to do an administrative. Some counties don't do administrative orders. They only do judicial. So sometimes they start the process and send it to the court for final sign-off. Sometimes they send it to the courts from the beginning. A county can handle that however they choose.
Okay, so basically, that makes no sense at all. There should be no visitation or parental rights under this child support order number if child support and the courts don't have anything to do with each other.
So custody and visitation and child support can all be handled judicially by the domestic courts, family court, whatever it is. They have authority over all of those areas. So they can do all of that in one order.
But it would be two separate.
That's always what happens with divorces.
We were never married. We were never married.
That's always the case with divorces. Then with private matters where it's outside of a divorce, the courts can cover whatever they want in that order. They are not boxed into one certain subject in a court order. That court order can cause many different things to occur. One of those things in this case was child support. I can't speak to anything outside of the child support on
this case. Was
is all done at the court level.
This case was to specifically establish child support after a DNA test results by Child Support Enforcement Agency, and I have all those documents.
Okay. So, at any rate, the current court order is a court order for you to pay child support to the custodial parent, Logan Walker. That is all that we can speak about is that order. There was a previous order where you were the one to receive support. That support order was ended by the courts.
Yeah, so if it was ended by the courts, we would have different order numbers. We would not have the same order number. So, child support violated my rights. That's perfectly fine. That's why I'm going to continue to contact Mike DeWine's office until he does something about this. The father did not file any visitation or parental rights according to the law, and this is all with permission of child support. So my daughters have been kidnapped. That's what it is. And that's perfectly fine. You can act oblivious to the situation and it's okay. I'm going to sue the Child Support Enforcement Agency for violating my rights.